Hello, and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Alexander Isak may be welcomed back at Newcastle despite making bombshell claim. Glenn Murray believes all will be forgotten. Should Alexander Isak U-turn on his Newcastle United exit? The Swedish striker took to social media on Tuesday to present his version of events regarding the protracted transfer saga. In a damning outburst, Isak alleged that the Magpies had reneged on pledges made in private and that his best option now is to pursue opportunities elsewhere. It follows a summer of unrest at St. James's Park after Isak shared his desires to consider alternatives away from Tyneside. The 25-year-old was absent from the club's preseason Asian tour and chose to train with former club Real Sociedad before being ordered to train in isolation upon returning to Darsley Park, reports The Mirror. Reports suggest that Isak is now refusing to ever play for Newcastle again as he seeks to force through a transfer before deadline day. Despite all the recent developments, Murray believes that Isak would be welcomed back by the club, his teammates and supporters should he surprisingly reconsider his options and remain. Murray told Ladbrokes, "As for how his current teammates will be feeling, I think that there is an understanding within dressing rooms that footballers have to look after themselves to a certain extent. I don't think there'll be any real bad blood. Obviously, they will feel a little let down that this saga has continued into the start of the new Premier League season, but I honestly don't think there'll be too much damage if he comes back. I think he'll be welcomed with open arms. Whether that's immediately or whether that's a couple of weeks down the line, he'll build those relationships. He'll probably come in and have to apologize, and I think it's the fans that are going to be the problem for him. But once he hits the back of the net in front of the Gallowgate end, I'm sure all will be forgotten." Despite the former Brighton and Hove Albion star's view, it could well be a situation of burnt bridges on Tyneside, considering how devoted and protective Newcastle supporters are towards their club. A vocal traveling contingent was heard chanting, "There's only one greedy B.A." at Isak during the Magpies' scoreless stalemate with Aston Villa at the weekend, while broadcasters like Alan Shearer and Jamie Carragher have criticized the player for his behavior. It comes as Liverpool appears to be the only viable destination for Isak currently. The Reds had an initial bid of $148 million plus add-ons turned down earlier this month, with the Magpies reportedly placing a $202 million price tag on Isak. Given Isak's recent statement and supporter anger in the Northeast, the club may now offer some flexibility on their rigid valuation should Liverpool come back with a marginally improved proposal. Isak still has 3 years left on his existing contract, but appears to have no future in black and white. Second news. Harvey Elliott agrees personal terms for Liverpool exit. Harvey Elliott is claimed to have already agreed personal terms over a move away from Liverpool, who are open to the midfielder leaving for the right price. Elliott was an unused substitute in the opening game of the Premier League campaign, after being given just 6 minutes in the Community Shield loss to Crystal Palace. With fewer forward options at present, Arne Slot's use of his number 19 in those 2 games highlights the position he finds himself in. Liverpool are expected to allow Elliott to leave this summer if a deal can be brokered for around $40 million with a buyback clause or $50 million without. RB Leipzig are chief among the sides working towards an agreement, and according to Sky Germany's Florian Plettenberg on X, they have already agreed personal terms with the player himself. This is Anfield understands Leipzig made contact with Liverpool at the beginning of August as they seek a replacement for the Chelsea-bound Xavi Simons. While Simons' switch to Stamford Bridge is yet to go through, Plettenberg claims Elliott is Leipzig's leading candidate to succeed the Dutchman. Tottenham, West Ham, and Brighton have also been credited with an interest in the 22-year-old, though there has been a lack of movement from sides in the Premier League. Elliott is clearly committed to the cause at his boyhood club, but entered the summer with a sense of realism over his prospects under Slot. If I had it my way, I would be here for the rest of my career. It's as simple as that. I love everything about the club, he told the Anfield Wrap last month. But at the same time, I kind of need to be selfish with myself and see what's best for me. I have big ambitions. I want to get in the World Cup squad, keep being successful as a player. Despite the ugly fallout from Alexander Isak's public statement over his future at Newcastle, Liverpool will continue to ready themselves to move for the Swede if they are given encouragement to bid again. Slot has already made clear he needs at least one more forward before the transfer window closes, while his options in midfield were boosted significantly by the British record signing of Florian Wirtz. Clearly, Elliot is not considered a long-term option as a starter, and a resolution over his future can be expected within the next week and a half. Liverpool, ready for transfer battle with Manchester City over $78 million Luis Diaz replacement. There's no hiding from the fact that Liverpool have undergone massive amounts of change this season. The Reds have likely spent the most money in the Premier League this term. But due to the number of sales they've made, their net spend isn't as high as some of their rivals. Players such as Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike have both been added to the Anfield outfit's ranks, and even though their moves in the transfer market have slowed down, that doesn't mean they haven't stopped looking for opportunities. The Reds want to retain their Premier League title this term, and as long as their first-team squad manages to gel in a timely manner, it's hard to see how they will be stopped. Liverpool to enter a transfer race against Manchester City for Rodrigo. One of the main areas Arne Slot has chosen to improve this summer is his attack. As mentioned, Wirtz and Ekitike have both been brought in, while others, such as Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz, have been sold on. Across the entirety of the summer transfer window, several players have been linked with an Anfield switch, but one name has seemed to continually pop up, and that's because it's clear that another world-class attacker needs to be brought in by Liverpool, which is why a move for Real Madrid's Rodrigo makes plenty of sense. The attacker has been out of favor ever since Xabi Alonso arrived, and now, according to Brazilian journalist Canal do Nicola, it seems like the Reds have entered the fray for his transfer. Exclusive information: Real Madrid's Brazilian striker is heading to the Premier League. The question is whether he will play for Liverpool or Manchester City, he said via his YouTube channel. The two Premier League giants are the most interested. Guardiola has been trying for a long time to sign Rodrigo, but Liverpool have entered the fray in recent days. They're willing to make Rodrigo the replacement for Luis Diaz. The atmosphere for Rodrigo at Real Madrid since Xabi Alonso's arrival is very bad. In Real's debut victory against Osasuna this Tuesday, Rodrigo didn't even leave the bench. A player valued at $90 million, $78 million, with a contract until June 2028. Rodrigo could end up being the perfect fit. For Liverpool, not only is Rodrigo still just 24 years old, but he's also a very versatile player. Although his natural position is on the left wing, he's also been used as a number 9 and on the right. Before Alonso's arrival, the Brazilian was one of Carlo Ancelotti's right-hand men, as he often contributed to the successes of Los Blancos. In fact, he was that good that Neymar even said that the way he plays was a joke. At the moment, it's anyone's guess how things will end up panning out for Liverpool and Rodrigo, but on the face of it, even for a fee of $78 million, it's hard to think of a better replacement for Diaz than the Brazilian. That is, especially since the transfer of Alexander Isak doesn't seem to have taken any steps forward over the last couple of days. Liverpool confident they'll sign Alexander Isak in astonishing 165 €, double deal. Liverpool have drawn up a massive new bid for want-away Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak, and are also gunning to sign Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi, with a report revealing how much each player could cost. Isak finally broke his silence over potentially leaving Newcastle on Tuesday night, releasing an explosive statement that accused the Magpies of broken promises. The Sweden star also fired shots at Newcastle for misleading fans over the timing of his exit wish. Isak's camp claim Eddie Howe was told last season, whereas the club insists this is news to them. The striker believes the two parties can't continue together, and that change is in the best interests of everyone, not just myself. Newcastle hit back by saying they do not foresee the conditions for a summer sale being met. Newcastle reporter Craig Hope has revealed that club chiefs at St. James's Park are now adamant they will not sell the 25-year-old under any circumstances this summer. They were previously open to negotiating with Liverpool, but are now determined to prevent his exit. Liverpool have already had a bid worth $110 million plus add-ons rejected and are ready to return with a new proposal, despite Newcastle's firm stance. As per The Sun, the Liverpool hierarchy have sanctioned a British record 130-minute move for Isak as they look to test Newcastle's resolve. Newcastle have set Isak's price tag at 150 million, but Liverpool are confident they will finally let the striker leave for the lower price of 130 million. The Premier League champions believe Newcastle's hand could be forced if the player continues to down tools. Newcastle officials, though, will point to the fact that his contract runs for another 3 years. Liverpool have already broken the British transfer record once this summer by paying 116 million for Florian Wirtz, and that record could fall again if Isak joins in a deal worth 130 million or more. The report claims that England's centre-back Guehi could follow Isak to Anfield in a 35-minute transfer. Guehi has entered the final year of his Palace contract and has no intention of agreeing renewed terms. He has been identified as Liverpool's #1 defensive target following the sale of Jarell Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen. Liverpool, also working on Mark Guehi signing team talk, revealed on July 3rd that Liverpool have agreed personal terms with Guehi, and our reporting has subsequently been confirmed by other sources, including Fabrizio Romano. Liverpool now need to forge a deal with Palace. The Eagles value Guehi at 45 million, meaning there will need to be some negotiation before a fee is agreed. Palace previously rejected offers worth around 65-70 million for Guehi, which came from Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur. Palace still hoped to tie Guehi down to a new contract at that stage, but that has proven impossible, and they are now warming to a cut-price sale. It was claimed on Wednesday that Liverpool are advancing towards Guehi's capture and have even organized a medical for him. Newcastle United and Aston Villa weigh up 60 million striker move that could open new door. Newcastle United and Aston Villa will reportedly be offered the chance to sign Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson for 60 million as the transfer window nears what could be a dramatic conclusion. The Magpies are in the hunt for at least one Premier League striker, ideally two, before the window closes on September 1st, as Eddie Howe looks for much-needed reinforcements for his attacking lineup. United had always intended to replace Callum Wilson after the former No-9's contract expired at the end of last season, but now face the daunting prospect of losing star striker Alexander Isak. The 25-year-old does not intend to play for Newcastle again as he pushes for a transfer to Liverpool, although United have yet to receive an offer that is anywhere close to their 150 million valuation of the Swede. Newcastle saw an improved offer of around 40 million for Brentford's Jon Wissa turned down on Wednesday, although they remain in talks with the Bees over a possible move and could return with a new bid. Chelsea are looking to offload Jackson after signing Liam Delap and João Pedro this summer, both former Newcastle targets, with Villa boss Unai Emery said to be interested in the Senegal striker after they worked together at Villarreal. Should Villa make a move for the 24-year-old frontman, that could mean Ollie Watkins becomes surplus to requirements at Villa Park, with Newcastle said to be interested in the England striker. Watkins will turn 30 later this year, and his price tag could be considerably lower than the 60 million quoted for Jackson. He has a proven Premier League record and featured 12 times in Villa's Champions League campaign last season. Liverpool will, no doubt, be keeping a close eye on the situation as they look for any encouragement over Isak's future. The Reds are yet to return with a second bid for the Swede, but are aware that United will not consider selling their prize asset unless they have suitable replacements into building, and an offer close to 150 million arrives. Isak will not be involved. When the two sides meet at St. James Park on Monday night in what should be an enthralling Premier League encounter, Champions League giants ready offer to take 40 minutes England star from Liverpool. Liverpool have conducted a remarkable transfer campaign so far this summer. Not only has Richard Hughes managed to increase the quality on offer to head coach Arne Slot, but the club have also succeeded in getting plenty of players off the books, such as Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, Jarell Quansah, Ben Doak, Kaoimhin Kelleher, Tyler Morton, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Nat Phillips. We have seen Florian Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, Giovanni Leoni, and Georgi Mamardashvili arrive, among others, and there are indications that a couple of more signings at least are in store. One of those, of course, is Alexander Isak. The proposed British record deal for the Newcastle striker is reaching a critical stage, and Liverpool will be hoping to have their new N09 in place before too long. Can Liverpool complete Guehi deal? At the back, the Reds are quite keen to replace Quansah with Mark Guehi. Despite the acquisition of Leoni earlier in the window, not only would the England star be a ready-made starter, he would also safeguard against the possible departure of Ibrahima Konate either this summer or in 2026 when his contract expires. The 25-year-old boasts extensive Premier League experience and also captained Crystal Palace to the FA Cup last season. It's believed that Liverpool would like to sign Guehi this summer, but Palace's asking price must come down before that can happen. Inter want Guehi. The South London side are looking for a fee in the region of 40 minutes for their skipper, who is also out of contract next year. Liverpool would still be interested in adding Guehi as a free agent if that were to happen, but might now face increased competition from one European giant in particular, because Champions League finalists Inter Milan have got plans to add Guehi as a free transfer next summer, according to a new reporting caught offside. Leoni revenge. Inter's leadership duo, President Giuseppe Marotta and Sporting Director Piero Ausilio, have already communicated to the players' representatives that Guehi is firmly on their shortlist for 2026. The report reads, Guehi is thought to have eyes only for Liverpool, and it remains to be seen how well Inter's offer is received by the centre-back. The Italians went in for Leoni before the Italian youngster swapped Parma for Anfield, but came nowhere near meeting his former club's asking price. Therefore, a swoop for Guehi, if successful, could be seen as some kind of revenge mission towards Liverpool. Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.